Have you ever heard that most men who are deeply in love don't actually say it out loud? It sounds surprising, but it explains so much about confusing behavior. Welcome to Mathew Hussey Insights. Today, I want to share something that might completely shift how you read men. After years of studying human behavior, one thing becomes clear. There's an unspoken code. When a man falls hard, but tries to hide it, he starts communicating in ways he doesn't even notice. It's like a quiet language made up of small actions, subtle shifts, and patterns that reveal what he's trying to keep under control. Let me ask you something first. Where are you watching from right now? Spain? Mexico? Argentina? Drop it in the comments. It's amazing to see how women all over the world are trying to understand love on a deeper, more psychological level. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe, because what you're about to hear might connect a lot of dots for you. Here's the truth. When a man genuinely falls in love, his system reacts instantly. Everything inside him becomes more alert, more sensitive. But at the same time, he tries to suppress it. Why? Because many men grow up believing that showing too much emotion makes them vulnerable. So instead of expressing it, they control it. But real feelings don't stay hidden. They leak out through body language, habits, and reactions he can't fully manage. Picture this. You're sitting with him, maybe just talking casually, but something feels different. You sense there's more beneath the surface, yet his words don't match that feeling. If that sounds familiar, stay with me, because by the end, one of these signs will feel so obvious you'll wonder how you missed it. The mistake many women make is looking for big, dramatic expressions, confessions, grand gestures, promises. But that's not how hidden love works. When he's holding it back, his mind creates defense mechanisms, and those create very specific behaviors. His body ends up revealing what his words are trying to hide. In the next few minutes, you're going to see patterns most people overlook. Once you notice them, you won't be able to unsee them, and you'll stop questioning where you stand. These signals don't depend on age. Whether he's 20 or 50, they come from something deeper. Human biology combined with psychology. No one can completely switch them off. The first sign is the side glance he can't control. When a man has strong feelings but doesn't want to show them, he avoids direct eye contact. But the moment your attention shifts away, he looks at you. His mind wants to take you in, your expressions, your presence, but he's also telling himself not to be obvious. If you want to notice this, act distracted for a moment, then suddenly look at him. If he quickly looks away, you've caught him. The faster the reaction, the stronger the emotion. The second sign is what you could call reverse mirroring. Instead of matching your energy, he sometimes does the opposite. You laugh, he stays serious. You open up emotionally, he seems distant, but his body tells the truth. Watch his hands or small movements. They might fidget, tighten, or hide. That tension is his internal conflict showing through. The third sign is his memory. A man who feels deeply but keeps it hidden remembers details about you with surprising precision. Things you mentioned casually weeks or even months ago stay with him. He might forget important dates in his own life, but he'll remember exactly how you like your coffee or something small you once said. And when it comes up, he'll act like it's random, like, I don't know why I thought of this, but it's not random at all. His mind has been storing those details the entire time. Now let me ask you, are you thinking of someone right now? If you are, type yes in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now and turn on notifications. Every week, you'll get insights that help you understand what's really going on beneath the surface. The fourth sign is something I call the quiet protector instinct. This one is so subtle that it's easy to miss. A man who has hidden feelings naturally positions himself in a way that keeps you within his awareness, not in an obvious or controlling way, but quietly. In a group, he'll stand where he can see you. If someone cuts you off, he'll step in and say, "Let her finish," like it's no big deal. When you're walking together, he'll shift to the side closer to the street without thinking about it. If there's a heavy door, he moves slightly ahead. He won't make a show of it. He won't even acknowledge it. But his actions reveal something simple and powerful. On some level, you matter to him more than he's willing to admit. What makes this even more interesting is that he's usually not aware of any of it. His emotional brain takes over and quietly shifts him into a protective mode without asking for permission. The harder he tries to act normal or downplay his feelings, the more noticeable these behaviors become. I've seen men confidently say, "We're just friends," while unconsciously adjusting everything around them just to keep her within view. The fifth sign is what I call the availability paradox, and it reveals more than you might expect. A man who's in love but hiding it doesn't act fully available, because that would expose too much, but he's not distant either. Instead, he creates a pattern that feels inconsistent on the surface, but very intentional underneath. You might send him a casual message and he takes his time replying. But the moment you say you're not okay or you need help, he responds almost immediately. It's like he's always tuned in, quietly monitoring how you feel. You'll notice this in person too. During light conversation, he may seem slightly distracted or reserved. But as soon as you open up or share something meaningful, he locks in completely. His focus sharpens, his body leans toward you, his breathing shifts, even his eyes react. These are automatic responses that show how much he cares. Over time, a pattern forms. The more real and vulnerable you are, the more present he becomes. Without saying it, he's showing you that you matter. The sixth sign is incredibly revealing from a psychological point of view: unconscious synchronization. When someone has deep feelings, their brain naturally tries to align with the person they care about. This creates connection and emotional closeness. But when he's trying to hide those feelings, he resists it. And that creates a very visible push and pull. He mirrors your movements without thinking, then quickly corrects himself. You cross your arms, he does it too, then suddenly stops. You lean in, he follows, then pulls back. It becomes a constant back and forth between wanting closeness and forcing distance. And it drains him more than he realizes. Some people describe feeling unusually tired after spending time with someone they secretly care about without understanding why. This internal conflict is the reason: his emotions pulling him forward, his mind holding him back. You can even hear it in the way he speaks. Without realizing it, he starts matching your pace. If you speak quickly, he speeds up. If you slow down or pause, he does the same. Then suddenly, almost like he catches himself, he shifts his rhythm again. It's subtle, but once you notice it, it's incredibly consistent. If you've stayed with me this far, chances are you've already connected some of these signs to someone in your life. And I'll tell you this, the next one is the most revealing of all. Before we get there, think about it for a second. How many of these have you actually seen? 1, 3, maybe almost all of them? The seventh sign is something I like to call the name dilemma. It's surprisingly specific, yet it shows up again and again. When a man has strong feelings but is trying to keep them hidden, your name becomes something emotionally charged for him. When he's speaking directly to you, he avoids using your name. It feels too personal, too exposing. So he replaces it with you, or skips it entirely. But when you're not around, it's a completely different story. Your name comes up often in conversations with others. People around him might even notice how frequently he mentions you. That's where his guard drops. It gets even more obvious when someone else says your name in his presence. His reaction is instant. A slight pause, a shift in breathing, a small physical response he can't control. Your name triggers something deep in him. And when he does say your name out loud, pay attention to how he says it. There's usually a softness to it, a slower tone, sometimes even a hint of nervousness. It carries more meaning than he's willing to express directly. The most important thing to understand is this: these signs aren't meant to stand alone. What matters is the pattern. A man who is truly in love but hiding it will show several of these behaviors consistently over time. Not once, not by accident, but repeatedly. And the more he tries to keep his feelings under control, the more those feelings find ways to show themselves. But here's where it really matters. Not just recognizing these signs, but but understanding what's behind them. Because in most cases, when a man hides how he feels, it's not because he doesn't care, it's because he's afraid. What's usually behind all of this is fear. Fear of being rejected, fear of losing what already exists between you, fear of not being enough. And this is where your role becomes important. Not to chase, not to pressure, but to create an environment where he feels safe enough to drop the mask. It's often the simplest things that make the biggest difference. Genuine laughter, small moments of ease, conversations where he feels there's no judgment, a space where he can think, here, I don't have to pretend. When there's no pressure, no confrontation, his defenses don't feel threatened. And that's when he slowly begins to open up on his own. I've seen how powerful this can be when handled with patience. One woman I worked with spent months confused about a man in her life. His actions didn't match his words, and it left her questioning everything. But once she started recognizing the patterns, everything clicked. Instead of pushing him for answers, she focused on creating calm, natural moments between them. Honest talks, shared humor, no expectations attached. Within a few months, he finally admitted how he felt, and even revealed those feelings had been there for a long time. That's what understanding really does. It's not about control or manipulation. It's about seeing what's happening beneath the surface and responding to it in a way that makes emotional honesty possible. Because when a man finally allows himself to be open with the woman he loves, the connection that forms is deep and lasting. You might wonder, though, why you should have to do any of this. Why can't he just say how he feels? And that's a fair question, but emotions don't always follow logic. Sometimes the people who care the most are the ones who guard themselves the hardest, because they're the most afraid of losing what matters. So here's the balance. Use this understanding as clarity, not as an excuse to wait endlessly. If you see these signs, then you know something real is there. But don't lose yourself in waiting for someone to catch up emotionally. Give it a time frame, because love that stays unspoken for too long can quietly trap both people. And never forget this. Your value doesn't depend on whether he admits his feelings. This insight is here to guide you, not define you. You deserve a love that's expressed openly, not one that hides in silence. Think of hidden love like a flame underwater. It shouldn't exist, yet somehow it does, quietly burning beneath the surface. Now you know how to recognize it, even when it's buried deep. Those 7 signals, the side glances, the mixed reactions, the detailed memory, the quiet protection, the inconsistent availability, the unconscious mirroring, and the way he handles your name. They're all small openings into what he's trying to hide. Little cracks in the walls he's built around himself. But beyond all of that, one truth stays constant. Real feelings always find a way to show themselves. Sometimes it takes time, sometimes patience, but emotional truth has a way of rising. Your job isn't to force it, it's to allow space for it. And if it still never comes, if he never finds the courage to be honest, then that tells you something too. Maybe it's not the kind of love that meets you where you deserve to be met. The most important lesson is simple. The love that truly matters is the one that shows up, not the one that stays hidden. Let this understanding bring you clarity, not overthinking. Let it confirm what you already feel, not create false hope. You deserve something real, something spoken, lived, and felt without hesitation. If you recognize these signs, you already have insight. What you do with that insight will shape not only this connection, but your own growth as well. Did this resonate with you? Have you seen these patterns in your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if this helped you see things more clearly, pass it on to someone who might need it too. This is Mathew Hussey Insights, and I'll see you in the next video, where we'll talk about what to do once you know he has feelings, because recognizing it is only the first step. What you do next is where everything changes. Until then, trust your instincts. They're usually right. And remember, you deserve a love that is honest, confident, and fully expressed, nothing less. And once you reach that point where you can clearly see what's real and what's not, something shifts inside you. You stop chasing clarity because you already have it. You stop overanalyzing every message, every delay, every mixed signal. Instead, you begin to observe patterns with calm confidence. This is where your power truly begins. Not in trying to decode him endlessly, but in deciding what you will and won't accept. Because awareness without action keeps you stuck. But awareness combined with self-respect changes everything. If you notice these signs, don't rush to confront him or force a confession. That usually pushes him deeper into his defenses. Instead, lean into emotional consistency. Be warm, be open, but also be grounded in your own standards. Let him feel that being around you is easy, safe, and real, but also that your time and energy are valuable. At the same time, don't shrink yourself to make him comfortable. That's a mistake many people make. They sense his hesitation and start lowering their expectations, hoping it will make things easier for him to step forward. But real connection doesn't grow in that environment. It grows when both people rise to meet each other. Pay attention to how he responds over time. Does he slowly become more open? Does his behavior start aligning more with what you feel? Or does he stay in that same hidden space, never quite stepping into the light? Because here's the truth. Feelings alone are not enough. Effort matters. Courage matters. Emotional availability matters. And while you can create a safe space, you cannot do the inner work for him. This is why setting a quiet boundary within yourself is so important. Not something you necessarily announce, but something you honor. A point where you say, I see what's here, but I also see what's missing. And if too much time passes without growth, you choose yourself. There's something incredibly attractive about a woman who understands deeply but doesn't lose herself in the process, who can recognize hidden love but still walks toward a love that is visible, expressed, and certain. And often that's what finally shifts everything. When he senses that you are not waiting indefinitely, that you value yourself enough to walk away from confusion, it forces a moment of truth within him. Either he steps forward or he lets you go. But either way, you get clarity. Because at the end of the day, love is not meant to feel like a puzzle you have to solve alone. It's meant to feel like something that meets you halfway. Something that grows in the open, not something you have to constantly decode in silence. So take what you've learned here and use it wisely. Let it sharpen your intuition, not cloud your judgment. Let it guide your actions, not trap you in endless waiting. And most importantly, remember this: being chosen openly will always feel better than being loved secretly. There is a version of love waiting for you that doesn't make you question where you stand. A love that speaks, that shows up, that doesn't hide behind fear. And you are allowed to expect that. You are allowed to walk away from anything less. So if you see the signs, acknowledge them. If you feel the connection, honor it. But never forget to honor yourself just as much. Because the right kind of love won't just be felt. It will be clear, mutual, and undeniable.